How's it
I,
going, man?
hey, how you doing? Sorry, I didn't know if I was playing over you. I have a piano right here,
Oh,
and
I, dude. So your video came up, and I saw you vibe, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit and watch.
I find even if I'm not doing some sort of interview or whatnot, I always try and have a piano in front of me. I feel like the words come out a little bit easier when there's
So
chords.
it never turns off for you, then.
Unfortunately, someone was just talking to me about this. It's annoying that it doesn't, but it's like I have to be overthinking about it to turn it off. I have to think it's like two negative batteries make a positive. Do they? I don't know.
I I guess for this conversation, yes. But it's kind of cool though because your mind's always going, so it's almost like you have too much going on up here to get out instead of like you hit writer's block or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's the I can never write. I always have writer's block when I'm in front of a piano. I never write songs on the piano. I actually always have to be doing the opposite of music to write a song. Like you're in Maine. I'm thinking about the last time I went to school in Sydney, Maine. I don't know if that's close to you at all. It's I went to the
Uh,
New England.
not too
Probably,
too not too close, but
yeah. I went to the New England music camp, and I remember driving on like road, like just there were all these speed traps. You guys have a lot of speed traps in Maine, and I'm driving, and I just have five songs. This was 10 years ago, granted. I don't know if the songs are any good, but I had 10 songs just pop into my head while I was driving to camp with my dad. And that still is kind of how I write all my music, just by driving and doing opposite things of music.
I'm glad you brought up Maine because if we have time before we wrap, I want to play "This Is That" Boston verse Maine, since obviously you went to Berkeley.
There you go.
If we have time,
We
but
got
obviously went on. I mean, this Friday you're dropping a brand new song. That's not how this works with Dan and Shay. What can you tell us about that drop?
Well, the song was written. That's not how this works. The full title was written 3 years ago. I wrote it with Dan and Shay, which is um was like I love unlikely collaborations as well. I kind of did that with Gabby Barrett and I Hope, and I love to throw in like unexpected collaborations. Like Charlie did a song with Dan and Shay, but it makes you if you haven't heard it, it makes sense when you hear it, especially because we wrote it together. And there's also a Sabrina Carpenter version. She's we made a short film together, and I thought, well, you're an artist, so why let's have your take on the song as well. And she killed that. So that's something to look forward to as well. There's a lot of layers to this song. It was written again 3 years ago at the very beginning of the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to people finally hearing it.
I actually wanted to ask you about the Sabrina Carpenter angle because you a couple weeks ago posted a teaser video on TikTok where you guys it's about the song, but you guys kiss, and I don't know if you saw the
Yeah.
comments, but they blew up. Like, how do you take that stuff on?
Somebody, I didn't see those. Somebody told me about that, and I didn't know that they were. I didn't know that they were together. It's just she brought out out of me like something really special. I think I'm not an actor, and I've never done anything like that before. But I always like to explore new territory and just see what I'm capable of. And it's especially much easier when you have you know someone like Sabrina who can bring that out of you. It's purely to kind of color a picture that once was in my life. That's what this song is about. I have to, in order for me to write a song, I got to tell the truth, and the visual that went along with it is the truth. It's a true story, and she portrayed it beautifully, and I think I did not a pretty good job myself, I must say.
I posted that I was going to be talking to you today on Twitter, and I got two of the most asked questions. The first one by far the most asked: are you going to do an a tour of Asia?
Ah, yes, I will. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I definitely will.
And the other like most asked question I got was 2020, with TikTok, you had a lot of songs out. Are you going to drop officially any of those songs from 2020 beyond that?
Well, you never know. I mean, we're starting with That's Not How This Works. This is the first song from 2020. 2020 was a really big transitional time for me musically.
Yeah.
I kind of figured a lot of things out, and a lot of the other songs got left on the back burner, but they're still like That's Not How This Works. Great songs. So I don't see why we wouldn't re-release some of them.
I mean, you got all this going on with just the song this Friday, but you're getting up for a tour too. The Charlie Live Experience Tour kicks off the end of May in Mexico. You're finally going to end up back in New England, up in Guilford, New Hampshire, the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion, June 7th.
Yeah.
Is it because, you mentioned being in Sydney, Maine before, obviously went to Berkeley. Is it kind of special, or does it hit different when you come back to New England?
It does hit different when I come back to New England. And I think that's partly because my first show ever was in New England. I was in Back Bay, Boston, Massachusetts at 939 Boylston. I'll never forget it. 200 people sold out, showed up to my show in 2013. And I was just blown away by that. So the fact that I get to, although it's not in Boston, I get to come to New Hampshire, and it gives a similar feeling. The audience gives a similar feeling, even though there's a lot more. There's like 8,000 people there or something like that. It's a lot. It gives me a similar feeling of humble beginnings. So I think it'll be the most special show on the tour, quite honestly.
I think you'll love it too. It's such like a special, unique venue. You'll be able to see everybody on the lawn just dancing, going crazy. So it's a cool place. Tickets are on sale, banknhpavilion.com and charlieputh.com. Before we run out of time, and I know we do have a few minutes, if you're cool, I would love to get into
give it to me.
All right. Start off with a couple like general ones before we get into Boston versus Maine, just to get you like in the zone. The Scandival with Vanderpump Rules. Are you team Raquel Rachel or team Ariana, or have no idea?
I have no idea, man.
Same. I just wanted to ask. Netflix, this or that. The Circle or Love Is Blind?
What that is?
Because you're so busy and because your brain's always going like writing, do you even get a chance to like binge watch anything?
I rewatch shows of my past. Like I'm watching The Sopranos right now. Just shows that I grew up with. I should watch Love Is Blind, because now that I say it out loud, my friend has talked to me about it, but I'm too busy putting the set list together for New Hampshire. I'm too busy, That's Not How This works. I might be the worst person ever for this game, but keep it going. Let's see if I get something.
Those are just warm-ups, and honestly, I knew they were going to be punts anyway. But now we'll get to Boston versus Maine, and it's going to be foods, desserts, locations, everything. So Boston versus Maine, Boston cream pie or whoopie pie?
Boston cream pie, because that's what we call it in New Jersey as well. So,
okay. Red Sox or the Portland Sea Dogs?
I say Red Sox because I don't even know who the Portland Sea Dogs are.
So they're out of Portland, Maine. Obviously, they're the AA affiliate of the Red Sox. So they're kind of linked, but
I didn't even know that there were AA affiliates of baseball teams.
I'm just out here dropping knowledge, hanging with Charlie Puth. Just typical Monday.
yeah, working.
Lobster rolls or the sausage guy in Boston?
Wow. Lobster rolls.
Okay, all right. So I doubt you're going to know what red snappers are, but they are literally red hot dogs sold in Maine. So Fenway Franks or red snappers?
You know what? I've never had a good experience with a Fenway Frank, because they usually have pork in them, and hopefully Maine don't.
We'll say red snappers. I don't know. I've had them. They're good. Boston Common or the Portland Waterfront?
I've been to the Portland Waterfront. I'm going to have to say, don't murder me, but I'm going to have to say Boston Common, because I lived on the Boston Common.
I mean, it's a special place for you. Faneuil Hall or the Nubble Lighthouse in Maine?
Nubble Lighthouse.
My man.
Yeah.
Last one, and I'm psyched for your answer on this one. Irish whiskey, which obviously is all over Boston, or Allen's Coffee Brandy, which is like an institution in Maine.
Allen's Coffee Brandy.
You may be the only person ever to say that.
I have it ordered here.
I love it. Charlie Puth, June 7th, going to be in New Hampshire at Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. Brand new song with Dan and Shay, Sabrina Carpenter. That's Not How This Works drops this Friday. Dude, thank you so much for taking the time. Have a blast on tour. And just, I don't know, man. I met you in Boston when you were at the House of Blues a few years back. You're a dope dude.
I remember that show.
Appreciate you, man. Have a great time on tour, and we'll see you in New Hampshire.
I'll see everybody at the show, and maybe I'll see you soon too.
Sounds good, brother. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.